ठीक है, थोड़ा देर में करता हूँ। हाँ ठीक है, मैं करता हूँ। हाँ थोड़ा देर में करता हूँ। ठीक।
All right, so I'm sharing my screen. Shashi, can you enable screen sharing, please?
Yeah, I'll just do it. 1 second. Yes.
Yes. All right. So in the last class, we had done some questions from the 20. So this was the 2000 June 2014 question paper that we did completed in the last class.
Sir, I can't see it.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Everyone, please mute yourself, okay? And when I say start, only then you start. Please mute yourself, okay? Please mute yourself. Thank you.
All yeah. And so in the last class, we had done a couple of questions from the next 2007 EC paper as well. So we'll be starting with question number 4 from today. So let's do. So let's do question number 4 on your question number 4 is on your screen. Just read the question, and when I'll say start, so you can type in your answers. Okay. So question number 4, it's there on your screen.
Wait. Don't give the answers.
Just hold on.
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah. Now you can start. Okay. I'll write it.
Yeah. Just I think. Yeah. Heyman was the first one to answer.
Heyman said before he says start.
Yeah,
No, I said it again.
Yeah, she actually said it again.
Mr. C. Olana.
Olana. Don't. Let us focus on the study, okay? As of now.
Yeah, the main objective is study this. Yeah, the competition is good. So just participate in that while learning, not at the cost of learning. Yes, Ulana.
I think we can start.
Sir, are we doing question number 4?
Yes, we are doing question number 4. All right, so let's look at the question number 4. So the question number 4 is, which of the following two quantities is required to determine the speed of an object? So distance and force No, time and distance. So time and distance, C is the right answer. How do you calculate the speed when you have time and distance?
This over time. Distance over
Speed
time. Distance per
is
second.
distance over
Meter per
time.
second. Meter per second.
Distance per unit time. Yeah, distance per second. Wonderful. Let's read the fifth question now. Fifth question.
Let me
When
say
I
start.
okay,
Let me say start.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
even type it if you want.
No, type, actually there's a time lag. No problem. I'll say start.
We're doing question number 5.
Start. All right. I think everybody is learning fantastically. Very nice. So at least we have we have a unanimous answer. Okay, B. Everybody has said B. Okay.
Kirubel has said C.
C. Yes, Kirubal said C. Kirubal, why did you say C, Kirubal? Can you just help us understand, Kirubal? Why did you say C?
Mr. Which question do you ask?
Five.
Fifth.
You gave the answer to it, right?
Oh, I thought it was number 4.
Oh,
4 we have already completed.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. No
wake
problem. No
up, wake
problem.
up.
So the acceleration. So the cyclist starts from rest, and its final velocity of the cyclist is 12 meter per second, and the time taken to achieve this is 10 seconds. So how do you calculate acceleration?
V final minus V initial divided 4 seconds.
10, which
Time.
is 1.2 meter per second square. Right? So B is the correct answer. All right. Read the sixth question, everyone. Sixth question. Let's read the sixth question.
A change in speed or in the direction of motion of a body
Sir, we can't see it.
Yeah, can you see now?
is a result of
Start. Okay, okay, C, B, C, D, A. Somebody said A also. Natty, you said A, okay.
Okay. Sixth question. So there is a change in speed or direction of motion of a body is a result of what? How does the speed or direction of a body change? So it's changes because of an unbalanced force. Unbalanced force. So six C is the right answer. Unbalanced force. Okay. If the force is balanced, say if you have 10 newtons in this direction and 10 newtons in the opposite direction, then the forces will be called as balanced. If the forces are balanced, then there is no acceleration. For acceleration, you need unbalanced force. And you know that change in speed or direction will mean change in velocity, and change in velocity is because of acceleration. So sixth question, the answer is unbalanced force, C. Seventh question. Let's read the seventh question now. Seventh.
Wait. I have not said start. Wait. Start.
A, B. Okay.
A, B, yeah.
Okay. It is more difficult to walk on a smooth and polished floor than on a rough road. It is because presence of sufficient friction on the surface of rough road, absence of friction on the rough surface. So presence of sufficient friction on the rough surface is the right answer. So A is the right answer, right? B is not the right answer because on the rough surface, you have the friction as high. So on the rough surface, the friction is high. On the smooth surface, the friction is low. So presence of so A is the right answer because it's saying that you have sufficient friction on the rough surface. So A is the right answer. So seventh A. Okay, let's read the eighth question, everyone. Quickly. Let's read it.
Start.
Wow. So most of you have said D. So D, one of the, which of these is not a contact force? So you know that basically, see, force of gravity doesn't, I mean, it can act at a distance as well. So if you're dropping something, so the force, so the gravitational force is not touching the ball in any manner. So it is acting from a distance. So force exerted by a gravity on a ball rolling down an incline. So the force of gravity is a non-contact force. So D is the right answer. So 8, D is the right answer. Ninth, read the question, everyone. Ninth.
Mister, we can't see it.
You'll be able to see it. Just hold on.
Teacher, I can't see it.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah. People have already started to write the answers. Just hold on for a bit.
Don't write. Don't write. There's no use here. Wait. Don't write. Don't write. Anyway, hold on. Hold on. I've not said start. Wait. Hold on. Start.
Okay. So the SI unit of work is joules. So Newton is the SI unit of
Force.
what?
Hour.
Newton is the science of force.
Newton is force. Correct. Joules,
Work.
work or
Energy.
energy.
Power.
Work, energy, both. Power. What is power? What is power? Kelvin,
Temperature.
temperature. Wonderful. Let's read the 11th question now.
Sure, I can see.
The 10th,
It's
sorry.
10th
10th
question.
question.
10th
10th question.
Start. Okay, I want to say D.
All right. So the 10th question, the energy possessed by a body due to its motion or position is known as. So it's known as mechanical energy. If and there are two types of mechanical energy, one due to
Potential
position and
kinetic.
one due to motion. So what is the energy that is due to motion?
Kinetic.
Kinetic. What is the energy that is due to its position?
Potential.
Potential. Wonderful. Wonderful. Great. Let's read the let's read the 11th question. So half of the 11th question is here on this page and the options are here. So read the 11th question and then when Shashi says start, you can start.
Roar.
Mister, there's only one choice.
No, there are 4 choices. Here, if you from here you have to read on the left side.
Wait, don't type the answers. Wait.
The options are here.
Hold on.
The options are here.
Start. Okay, we will say
A. So simple pendulum swings between A and B. Which of the following statement is correct about this motion? the total energy. A is not the correct answer. A is not the correct answer because the total energy is same everywhere. So D is the correct answer. Did anyone say D?
Yeah,
No one.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, said, Delina said, yeah.
Poland.
Wonderful. Great, great, great. 11th, D is the correct answer. So the total energy remains same everywhere. So I'll show you what happens in a simple pendulum. So in a simple pendulum, when you have a simple pendulum, so at these positions, because the height is maximum, it will have the maximum potential energy. Because and zero kinetic energy. Why will this the ball over here, the bob over here will have zero kinetic energy? Do you know why will it have the zero kinetic energy when the bob is at the maximum position?
Because it's at rest.
It is momentarily at rest. So at that instance, because the bob is going in this particular direction, and then it momentarily stops while changing its direction of motion. So when it stops, so that is the high maximum position, and at maximum position you can say that the velocity is zero, and when the velocity is zero at the maximum position, the kinetic energy is zero, right? So what will be the kinetic energy at this place? Zero again, because at the
Zero.
maximum positions it is zero, and the potential energy is maximum potential energy. But if you add potential energy and kinetic energy, so it will be same everywhere. At this position, the potential energy is zero and the kinetic energy is maximum. Okay, but when I add the values of kinetic energy and potential energy here, the kinetic energy and potential energy here, the kinetic energy and potential energy here, or any other position, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is always equal, same, right, for any position. However, at these two positions, the potential energy is maximum. Here, the potential energy is minimum. Here, the kinetic energy is maximum. And these two places, the kinetic energy minimum. Potential energy maximum, kinetic energy minimum. Potential energy maximum, kinetic energy minimum. At the center position, kinetic energy is maximum and potential energy is zero. Let's read the 12th question. 12th question, please read.
Don't type, wait, don't type. No use typing now. Start.
Okay, the 12th question. So in the 12th question, you want to find out you want to know the definition of mechanical advantage. So mechanical advantage is what? The ratio of load to effort. So mechanical advantage is the ratio of load to effort. So if you are able to lift a heavy load with lesser effort, then mechanical advantage of such a machine will be greater than 1. If you can lift with more effort, you can lift less load, less uh, heavy load. So then the mechanical advantage of that machine will be less than 1. So mechanical energy is load by effort. For 1 unit of effort, how much load can I pick up? So the correct answer is 12th, B. B is the correct answer for 12th question. Okay.
Okay.
Let's read the 13th question now.
Wait, don't type, guys. Hold on. First read the question. Wait. Why is everybody typing?
13th question, please read.
Start. I was saying C.
Okay, C is the correct answer. So the first one is an example of a liver. Second is an example of a pulley system. Third is an example of C. C is an example of incline. And fourth is also an example of a pulley system. So the correct answer is C. 13, the correct answer is C. Most of you said C. Wonderful. Let's read the 14th question now.
Hold on. Don't answer. Wait. Start.
Okay. So 14th question. A thermometer reads 100 degrees when placed in boiling water. So which temperature scale is being used? So boiling water is 100 water boils at 100 degrees in which scale?
Celsius.
Celsius scale. And in Kelvin scale, the boiling temperature of water is? Degrees
Zero.
C.
227.
Boiling point. So for in degree centigrade, the boiling point is 100 for water. In Kelvin, it is how much?
273.
Is it 273
I
or
mean
300?
373. Sorry.
Yes, 373 is the right answer. So in Kelvin scale, water boils at 373. And in Fahrenheit,
212.
212. Wonderful. Let's read the 15th question now. Please read the 15th question.
We can't see it, mister.
How can you see? Wait, don't answer anyone. Don't answer now. Start.
All right. So 15th question. The which are best displays how the particles of gas is how particles are arranged in a gas. So the correct answer is A. So in gases, the particles are very far apart from each other, right? And most of the gases are empty space. So which one of the A displays, you see there are fewer particles which are very far apart. So A is the right answer. So 15th A. 16th problem. Let's do the 16th question. Please read the 16th question.
Start. C. Okay, nice.
All right. So most of you have said C, and C is the correct answer because if boiling happens at boiling temperature. So when you dry your clothes in sun, so you are not. Can you mute Sashi? I mean the people who are. So
Please mute. Yeah, Gize and Adobe, please mute. Yeah.
so washed. So when you wash clothes and dry them in sunshine, the moisture is removed not due to boiling, because boiling happens only at boiling temperature of water, which is 100 degrees centigrade. Melting, I mean, it has nothing to do with removal of moisture. It is about, for a solid becoming liquid is called melting. Evaporation is the process by which water molecules leave the surface even at a temperature that is lower than boiling point. So C is the right answer. C. 16th, evaporation. So this is the reason why your clothes dry, because it's because of evaporation. Okay, can someone tell me a bonus question? Can someone tell me what increases the rate of evaporation?
Boiling.
Sorry, boiling. No, boiling is not the right answer. So what
If
increase?
there is uh, if there is wide surface area,
Air. So movement of air. So if the air movement is high, if the air movement is high, the evaporation is high. You can see that on a windy day the clothes dry faster. Why? Because of air movement. Okay, so air movement is increases the rate of evaporation. Anything else?
wide
The surface area. The
Surface
surface
area.
area.
Surface area is 100% correct. So if you generally see, when you dry your clothes, if you keep the clothes, I mean, crushed, so it will take more time to dry. But if you spread the cloth, so it dries quicker. So the surface area increases the rate of evaporation. Anything else?
Wind.
Wind. Seven, yes. Wind, we have air movement, we have covered. Wind.
the sun,
The sun or the
Source of
temperature?
heat. Source of heat.
Temperature. We can say temperature. If the temperature is high, then the rate of evaporation is high. Source of heat, due to the source of heat, the temperature increases, right? Wonderful, wonderful, great. Or source of heat. Great, all wonderful answers. So, Sashi, we can give some marks to the
Yes,
people who.
yes. I have noted.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you, Fevin. And let's move on. Uh, let's read the 17th question. 17th question, please read.
Don't type now. Kiribul, you're typing before. Don't do it, okay? I will not take your answer. Don't do it. Wait.
We're
Start.
doing the 17th question. Okay, great. So in the 17th question, sound travels fastest in solids. So this is a factual question. So sounds travels fastest in solids. Uh, uh, they compare. I mean, it's in gases it travels the slowest. In Then the speed is more in liquid, and the speed of sound is the most in solids. The speed of sound increases. So for the 17th question, A is the right answer. Wonderful. Okay. Okay. Let's do the 18th question. Please read the 18th question. Please read. Please read.
Start. Next answers D, C, D, C. Okay. Lot of C.
Okay, wonderful. Let's look at 18th question. So echo sounding cannot be applied to measure the depth of sea, measure the speed of sound, determine the source of sound, determine the position of sound reflector. So which echo sounding cannot be used applied to do what of these? What have people said?
C.
We've got a lot of C's, right? So measure the depth of sea. In fact, echo sounding is used to measure the depth of sea. That's how the depth of sea is measured, where there is a ship and the ship sends, when the ship is floating, the ship sends so signal of water, a signal within the sound, and the signal then reflects from the surface of the sea, and when it reaches back, they save, I mean they find out what is the time taken for the signal to come back, and based on that they can measure the distance. Okay. All right. So sound, the measure of depth of sea, it is used. Measure the speed of sound. So if you know the distance between two objects, I mean the source of sound and the reflecting object, then you can measure the speed of sound. Okay. Determine the source of sound. So you don't use, so if there are multiple sources of sound, so echo sounding cannot be used to determine the source of sound. However, to determine the position of the sound reflector, yes, it can be used, because let's say if the sound reflector is somewhere here, uh, uh, I mean we can find out how far is the sound reflector from the source, depending on, I mean how much time it takes for the echo to come back. So if the echo takes whatever, I mean we will measure the distance between the sound and the echo to come back. Based on how much time it took for the echo to come back, we can measure this distance from where did it get reflected, because we already know the speed of sound. If we know the speed of sound and we know how much time the sound took to go and come back, so we can find out the distance. Okay, so C is the correct answer, 18C. 19, question number 19, we have which statement is not correct about the magnetic field. So there are three options here,
Yeah.
and the fourth option is here.
We have to reduce the size.
Okay. Nineteenth question, we are doing the 19th question.
Start.
Okay. The 19th question. What have people said?
C, C, C. All C.
Most of the people have said C. So which of the following is not correct about the magnetic field, right? So magnetic field lines are continuous. So this is true. Magnetic field is strong where the lines are close. So if you have, say, a bar magnet, so the magnetic lines of forces would be, so going from which direction does magnetic lines of forces go? Are you aware? Which one is north? This one or this one? If the magnetic lines of force look like this,
The first one is north.
the first one is north. Wonderful. So the magnetic lines of forces originate from the North Pole and enter the South Pole. Wonderful. So basically the 19th question, so magnetic lines of forces crosses each other at the poles. And the fourth option is magnetic field lines directed in the direction of magnetic force. Yep. So C is the C is the right answer. Yeah. So they don't cross each other.
Mister, can you please explain D?
Magnetic lines of force are directed in the direction of magnetic force. So if you look here, so the magnetic force on an object will be like, if you place an object here, if you place a compass here, so the compass needle will give you the direction of the magnetic lines of force. So basically, if the magnetic lines of force is, if you place the compass here, if the compass is directed this way, so it means the magnetic lines of force is this way. Okay, so magnetic field lines are directed in the direction of magnetic force. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. So okay, so there, so I had a, let's go to the 20th question. Read the 20th question, everyone. Please read the 20th question.
थोड़ा और zoom कर दो। Start.
Okay. We are doing the 20th question. And yep. So magnets are not used in electric motors, speakers, machine that lift iron or steel to a higher places, and construction of electroscope. What is the right answer? Tell me.
D.
D is the right answer. Perfect. So in
D.
electroscope, you don't need a magnet. In speakers, you have a magnet. In electric motors, you have magnet. And
You have a magnet.
yeah, electric motors, you have a magnet inside. And many times it could be an electromagnet, which means that it becomes a magnet. So there are some things that can become a magnet only when you pass electricity to it through it. So sometimes we use electromagnets as well. So, but it has a magnet. And but yeah, electroscope does not need a magnet. Let's do the 21st question. Yeah,
Mister,
go on.
before you continue, I have a question.
Okay.
What are magnets used for inside speakers? Like, what do they do if a magnet is found inside the speaker? What does it do?
So inside so there is a magnet, and there is, because of the magnet there, and you have also electrical energy which is sent through the wire. Okay, so there is electrical signals that are sent through the wire into the speaker, and once you send that electrical signal to the wire into the speaker, so with the help of this magnet, you create, and there are other things to guide it. So basically with the help, so there is a magnetic field that's created, and within that magnetic field, because of the signal, there is change in those magnetic fields. So because of the change in magnetic fields, there are some vibrations that gets created. Now because of those vibrations, the sound gets produced inside a speaker. So basically we want to create a magnetic field, and because of the signals, we want to disturb that magnetic field in a particular manner so as to produce sound.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's do the 21st question. 21st question, please read.
Hold on, don't answer, guys. Why are you answering? I haven't said start. Don't annotate. Manish, disable कर दो annotation. Start. Okay, everybody said A.
Okay, so we are doing the 21st question now. So in the 21st question, what do we see? So the following methods of charging transfer electrons, except, okay, so if you charge a glass rod by rubbing, so that there is actual transfer of electrons. If you charge ebonite rod by rubbing, whatever you charge by rubbing, so it will it will cause transfer of electrons. But if you charge anything with induction, then there is no transfer of electrons. So charging metallic materials by induction is the right answer. So 21st D is the right answer. There is no contact. So in an induction, so something, let's say if there is a rod, positively charged rod, and if I bring it closer to another object, say, which is not charged, because the rod is positively charged, and I will not touch these objects. I'll keep this object at a distance from this object. So by this virtue, because this is positively charged, the negative charges will concentrate here towards the right side, and because the negative charges concentrate toward the right side will become negatively charged, and the left side will become positively charged. So this body has, I mean, in a way, charged up momentarily. If I remove this charge, automatically this body will get, everything will get redistributed again. But for now, we can say that the body is charged, but there is no transfer of electrons that has happened. So this is charging a body through induction. So 21st D is the right answer. 22. Which statement is correct? Let's read this question, everyone. 22. Read it.
Start.
Okay, the 22nd question. Which statement is correct? Every matter is electrical in nature. There are three types of charges. Is there three types of charges? There are only two types of which charges?
No.
Yes.
There are only two types of charges: positive
no.
charge and neutral. Positive charge and a negative charge. What is there any third type of charge? So there are two types. B is
Mister?
incorrect. Yes.
Wait, but when it says charges, don't you think that it might mean, like electron, proton, and neutron?
No, it just means that what are the different types of charges. So basically, some things can be positively, there can be positive charges or negative charges. That's it. So there are only two types of
Okay, thank
charges.
you.
If the number of positively charged and the number of negatively charged particles are same, equal, then this whole body will be called neutral. But there is nothing called neutral. In neutral means that the number of positive and the number of negative charges are equal. And there are only two types of charges, positive and negative. C, negative charge is carried by the protons. This is incorrect because negative charges is carried by the
Electrons.
electrons. And protons carry positive charge.
Positive charge.
Yeah, both positive and negative charges are located in the nucleus of an atom. Is this correct?
Yeah.
This is not correct because the nucleus of the atom just has protons and
Neutron.
what does the nucleus has? And neutrons. So the
Is that-
nucleus has protons and neutrons, and all the electrons are orbiting around the nucleus. So there is nucleus where we have protons and neutrons, and around the nucleus electrons orbit the nucleus in orbits. Okay. Yes, you have any question?
Is there a neutral charge?
Which charge? Sorry.
Neutral.
Neutral. Yeah, neutrons are neutral.
So is there 3 charge?
But if anything is neutral, so we don't call it like neutral charge. We just say that the body is neutral. The body is neutral means it means absence of charge, or it means that it has equal amounts of positive and negative charge. Like neutron is absence of charge. However, let's say this particular mouse is not charged because it has equal opposite positive and negative charges. So the correct answer is every matter is electrical in nature is correct because every matter will have electrons. So every matter is electrical in nature. This statement is correct. Apart from that, all the statements are wrong. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do 23rd question. Please read 23. Please read
Don't
question
type.
number 23.
Yeah, थोड़ा ऊपर करना पड़ेगा. Don't type, wait. Start.
Okay, question number 23. Which of the following statement is correct? Potential difference is measured by ammeter. Is potential difference measured by ammeter?
No.
What is it measured by?
No.
What is potential difference measured by?
Hmm?
What is potential difference measured by?
Mega.
Voltmeter.
Hmm?
Voltmeter. Okay. The unit of potential difference is ampere. Is this correct?
No.
What is correct? Unit of potential difference is?
Volt.
Voltmeter.
Okay. Volt. B, volt. C, battery is a source of potential difference in a circuit. Is this statement correct?
Yes.
Yes, this is perfectly fine. D, potential difference causes charges to remain stationary. Okay, if there is a potential difference, will the charges remain stationary?
No.
No,
What will happen?
They start to move.
It starts to move. Perfect, perfect. So C is the right answer. 23, C. So which statement is correct? C is correct. Okay, let's do question number 24. Please read the question number 24.
Sure, I can see the question.
Sir, we cannot see.
थोड़ा सा ऊपर करना, वो एक्चुअली नीचे में ना उनका बाहर आ जाता है, वो इसकी वजह से नहीं दिखता वो। थोड़ा सा बट maybe yeah, I think ठीक।
Let's read question number 24. Please read question number 24.
Start.
Okay. So there is a rectangular cubic block, has 3 meter length, width and height. So 3 meter length, width and height. So length is 3, width is 3, and height is also 3. L, W, H, all are 3 meters. So what is the volume? How do you calculate volume of a cuboid? Length into
Length
width.
length times
width
width
times height.
times height.
So 27 meter cube, right? 27 meter cube is the answer. So B is the correct answer, B. So unit is meter cube. Sorry? The unit of volume is meter cube, not meter square. So meter square is not correct. Meter cube is the correct answer, B.
The question it says a rectangular cubic block. As if you have a rectangular face.
Rectangular cubic block. So if you use a cube, I mean, whether you have a cubic block or a cuboid, I mean cuboid, so it doesn't matter. The formula remains the same, right? In a form of when you have a cube, all the three length, width, and height are equal. So that's the only difference. Okay. Otherwise, the formula remains the same for a volume. Let's do 25th question. 25th question. 24th, the answer is B. 25th, let's do 25th. Please read question number 25th. Question number 25. Please read.
Start.
Okay, question number 25. An object has a volume of 13 milliliter cube. So the volume is 13 milliliter cube. No, what is the unit? ml cube. What is ml cube?
Milliliter cubed.
Milliliter, I mean, 13 ml is itself the unit of volume.
Volume.
Yeah, liter cube does no liter cube does not have meaning. So an object has a unit volume of 13 milliliter and a mass of 39 grams. So mass is 39 grams and volume is this. You have to determine its density. Okay, so density is mass upon volume. So if you want to find out the volume so you want to find out the density in gram per milliliter. So you can say what is the mass by volume. So mass is 39 divided by volume grams and volume is 13 ml. So the so the volume or the density would be 3 gram per milliliter. 3 gram per milliliter, which is answer number 3, option C, 25C. C is the correct answer. Okay, C is the correct answer for 25th. Mass by volume, that's how you calculate density. Okay, let's do the 25th question. 26th, sorry,
26th.
26th question. 26th question, let's do 26th. Twenty-sixth. Okay.
Start. Who wrote C so many times?
Yep. If they don't know anything, they should guess C. So, yep. So 0.0004 units is basically C. It's for, okay. For if you want to measure a certain quantity in the scientific notations using one significant, and you have to use only one significant figures, then C is the right answer. Okay, C is the right answer because C has, so 4 into 10 to the power minus 4. And if you look at very closely related option B, option B is 4 into 10 to the power 4.0 into 10 to the power minus 4. So the only difference between C and B is that in C you have 4 and in B you have 4.0. So 4.0 is how many significant figures? It's two significant figures. So 4 is one significant figure. So you wanted only one significant figure. So therefore C is the correct answer. Okay. C is the correct answer.
Okay.
27th question. 27th. Please read.
Okay.
Wait, don't tell her.
27th.
Yeah.
Please read.
I can't see.
Read it now.
Mister, can you put it a little bit higher? Because we can't see the question. Okay.
Start.
Okay. 27th question. So motion of Earth. So which of the following is motion along a straight line? So motion of Earth around the sun, is it a straight line?
No.
It's an elliptical orbit. The Earth revolves around the sun in an elliptical orbit. Motion of a pendulum, is it a straight line?
No.
No.
No, it is, it moves
No.
up. Yeah.
Vibratory.
Freely falling object, is it a straight line?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And what about gas particles in space?
No, it's not.
No, it moves in a total random manner. So, yep. So C is the correct answer. 27th, C is the correct answer. Okay. All right. Let's do question number 28.
हाँ, ये तो इसको आखिरी करते हैं आज का, ठीक है? बाकी कल पूरा ये खत्म हो जाएगा मेरे ख्याल से। 45 क्वेश्चंस है ना?
हाँ, हो जाएगा।
हाँ, कल खत्म कर देंगे।
28th question. Please read the 28th question.
The following graph shows the distance an object travels.
Read it in your mind. Don't have to read it to me.
Start.
Okay.
Who's writing so many times? Philippos, don't do it. Why are you writing so many times, Philippos? I will
The
not
fo-
give you. I will not give you marks just for writing so many times.
So 28th question, the following graph shows that the distance of an object travels during 12 seconds from the start. Okay, at which time interval? Hey, where is the graph, man? Is the graph, I don't see it printed. Is it printed? No, it's not printed. Which of the following graphs shows the distance of an object travels during 12 seconds from the start? At what time the initial velocity, at what time interval is the velocity zero?
There's
So
no
the
graph.
graph is missing. The graph is missing.
Okay, let's
Mister,
remove.
Yeah.
can you please explain the question? I really don't understand. Can you
Yeah,
please
the
explain
question,
it?
the question is not complete. So there should have been a graph over here.
Let's skip it. Let's do 29.
And once you have a graph over here, you could have looked at the graph and seen where is the velocity zero. So at the place where velocity is zero, the distance time graph. So this is distance versus time graph. So if the distance remains the same, let's say when the distance remains the same, you can say that, that when the displace, let's say if an object is increasing in its distance, so it will rise up. If it is staying at the same level with respect to time, so I'll show it on my notebook. Say for example, an object, this is displacement, and or distance, and this is time. Okay, let's say if the object is moving, then if the object is moving from its initial position, let's say from its initial position, if the distance is increasing and increasing in a straight line, so the in on the graph you can show it as that the displacement with respect to time, 1 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, it's getting farther and farther away from the initial point. So this was your reference point. From the initial point, the body is moving farther and farther away. So if it is moving further and further away, then you see that in a distance time graph, you would see that the distance is increasing. Distance means the distance from the initial position. When the distance time graph becomes flat, it means that with respect to time, although the time is changing between 3 to 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and so on. So between 4 to 6 seconds, there is no change in the distance, which means that if the body reached till here, so it is still there, but the time is passing, but the body is still there, which means that the body is at rest. So in this question, the graph is not printed, but if the graph would have been printed, then the question is that at uh, which interval the velocity is zero. The velocity will be set zero in a distance time graph or a displacement time graph when the graph is flat. Okay, like in this case, we would say that the velocity is zero from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. And again, let's say if the graph looks like this, then I can say that the velocity is zero between 4 seconds to 6 seconds, and again from say 7 seconds to 10 seconds. So wherever the graph is flat, I can say that at that instance, the velocity is zero. Fevin, is this clear to you?
Yes, Mister. I also have another question.
Yeah,
Let's
go
say
on.
that this kept on accelerating, and if it didn't become flat, and if it kept on going, would there still be a chance of it becoming a uniform motion?
So if it is if a body is accelerating, then it cannot become a uniform motion, right?
What
The
about a
velocity,
uniformly accelerating motion?
yeah. So it will always be accelerated. It will all, because it is accelerated, right? So it will always, so it will have one value of acceleration, and the value of acceleration remains constant, but it will still, the velocity will still keep on increasing if there is acceleration. right? For example, if something falls under gravity, and if you ignore air resistance, then the object accelerates at g equals to 9.8 meter per second square, and it keeps on accelerating, and the velocity will keep on increasing, and we will call this kind of motion, we can call it uniformly accelerated motion. That it is accelerated, but the acceleration is constant, uniformly accelerated. Now, if you have a car, and if you're running that car, but sometimes you're putting on the gas, sometimes you're not putting on the gas. So when you're putting on the gas, see, the acceleration could be higher, and when you have lifted your foot from the gas, the the acceleration could be lower. I mean, it could still be accelerating, but the acceleration could be lower. So that is something of example of a non-uniform accelerated motion. But under gravity, whenever an object falls, so it is, the motion is uniformly accelerated, we call it. The velocity is not uniform, the acceleration is uniform. Okay,
Okay, Mr. Thank you.
thank you. Any more
Okay.
questions? Do you have any more questions? Was this graph problem clear to you? I mean, the graph is not printed, but now if the graph is printed, would you be able to find out where the velocity is 0?
Yes.
Wherever the graph is flat,
Yes.
you can say that the velocity is 0.
Great.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep. That's it for today.
So
Over to you, Shaji.
thank you, Manish teacher. So I hope, guys, all your concepts were again revised. Correct? You enjoyed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much, very much.
Great. Very nice. So tomorrow we will finish. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Absera, Olana, mute yourself. Okay.
Mr.
So
Who's
so
the
to-
winner for today?
you'll get to know tomorrow morning. Don't worry. Okay. So what I'm saying is tomorrow we will finish this chapter for sure. Okay. And as I had promised in the morning, the good news, guys, are you excited for the good news?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. So
Yep.
what we have decided, especially for all of you, is we will be posting all our sessions that we have done on our YouTube channel. Okay, so that you can see everything what Manish teacher has said, what Sophia teacher has said, what Dipti teacher has said, what I have said, and the rest of the teacher have said, right? Anytime. So we are already uploading it. It's in process. So tomorrow by evening, you will have the links with you. Okay. So anytime you can refer them. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Great. So let us all thank Manish teacher for joining us, and we will see him tomorrow. Okay.
Thank
Guys?
you, Mr. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Great.
you. Have a wonderful
Okay.
evening.
Mister. Tomorrow is
Thank you.
election. We don't have a Wi-Fi.
Physics. Oh, okay. You will not have Wi-Fi. Okay, no problem. So I will discuss with my friend, and I will update you tomorrow. Okay, if you'll have the lecture or not. Don't worry. Okay.
What subject we learn tomorrow?
Okay.
Physics. If we have internet, we will learn physics tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bye. Take care. Yes, somebody has.
Bye.
Yes, sir.
Ciao.
Sir.
Ciao.
What is the news tomorrow? Bye.
Bye. Ciao. Take care. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Ciao.
Bye.